Six Gun Productions. New media, new rules.
This is Geek News Radio. Broadcast 44 for Saturday, August 19th, 2017. How to launch naval invasions.
You're listening to Geek News Radio, episode 44. I'm Dave in Birmingham.
And I'm Fab in Hamburg.
Oh my god, Fab, you're in Hamburg, not the other place.
Moin moin, as we say over here.
What does that mean?
And I'm drinking a Flensburger Pilsner. Moin moin means good. Well, normally you say moin, and
right.
then the other person says moin moin. It's like Northern German for like good day.
Okay. That's kind of understandable.
I kind of like it because it sounds like morning, like saying good morning, like as if you say morning, like in German. And I have this problem. I always used to say morning to people, like as a greeting. And I was a student, so I would say that like at 3:00 in the afternoon because it was morning for me, and people looked at me funny. Now, if you say moin, they won't notice. You can say that all day around. So,
makes sense.
People that are listening to this should notice that we sound different, hopefully better, because I have a hobby room now. So I have a dedicated podcasting room, and I have space for my like Behringer tube compressor limiter gate thing.
Sweet, yeah, so I'm getting compressed apparently.
You're getting compressed as well, yes. It might sound a bit echoey. This is because there's no furniture in this room.
Yeah, I'm imagining you sitting on the floor right now.
No, I got the desk up, I got the office up, I've got the hobby table, but everything else is just boxes. And there's nothing there's nothing higher than a table. That's the problem. So if I talk up like this, it's like it's a cathedral. But yeah, we'll fix that at some point.
Excellent. Yeah, you said what you're drinking. I'm drinking an old-fashioned because they're really nice.
Awesome. Yeah, so I survived the move. That's good. Mm-hmm. That was a bit stressful. I hate moving.
Yeah.
But actually...
how did the moving the books work? Did you have like loads of books to move?
Yeah, well, we got rid of some books actually because of all the moving. But then this time, it's the first time we actually hired a company.
Okay.
So they carried everything. That was good. It was more stressful because I'm like stressing out that they're losing stuff and stuff like that. But they were really good. Katie selected like a company that was actually, I think, the cheapest, but they were really good. So
excellent.
It worked quite well. Yeah, now we're just sitting in chaos, but I've got like the first thing I did, like I read somebody wrote on the internet. I read like the blog thing or something where somebody wrote, "You're a geek if the Wi-Fi is up before your bed," and that was so true. So I set up, the internet, and then everything. The studio was first. Yeah. So, how have you been? What have you been up to?
I have mostly been working in Bristol, spending my nights in hotels. It's been great.
Assembling like Warhammer or something.
Yeah, I've been assembling is it the Redemptor Dreadnought? It's the new one, the Fat Boy.
Yeah. I'm bumping into shit. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's a new desk.
I've been assembling that, so that's assembled and primed now. Ready to paint. I've been watching like shit tons of Hearts of Iron Let's Plays. I was like going back and watching like the one with Lewis, Shin, and Pyrian Flags.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Is that as chilled as you'd think it would be?
It's pretty chilled. Lewis will like invariably like be kind of evil and declare war on like one of the other two, which is pretty good. It's on the Team Double Dragon account because there are like 4 million Yogscast accounts now.
I can't keep up with that.
I only watch. I've got the Team Double Dragon one, which is like generally Lewis and Sips.
I've become a huge fan of Sips, actually.
Sips is alright, yeah.
He's really funny in the pub videos.
Yes. And then I watched the Civilization ones because Period Flex is regularly on those, and then also Period Flex.
Yeah, P-Flex, awesome.
I dig that. You should listen to the Triforce podcast. It's Lewis, Sips, and Period Flex.
Was that the podcast they keep talking about?
Yes, so it's I think they've moved the feeds now. It's on the old Yogpod feed.
Okay. Oh, I haven't had that for ages.
So yeah, I used to listen to it, and I think it sort of went away for a bit.
Triforce as in Zelda.
as in the Triforce, but they called it the Triforce. So I think it's because there's 3 of them.
How are they not getting sued?
I don't know. I don't think they make money on it, but it seems like a thing they get sued on because I think
there's 50 episodes.
Quite probably. There's quite a few of them.
Okay, I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, I think it's because Period Flex's nickname, because his name's Ted. I think his nickname at work was like T-Force. I think is the backstory of, and then they turned that into Triforce.
I had no idea what his name was. His name is Ted.
I think his name is Edward, but yeah, Ted for short.
What's his last name?
I don't know his last name.
Edward Flex.
Presumably Flax, yeah, Ted Flax. So yeah, I've been doing that. I've been kind of like watching streams and stuff, and then I've played quite a bit of Hearts of Iron as well because I've been back in on that because it's
awesome.
Just nice. It's just good. It's like a board game that you like. It's kind of satisfying my sort of desire to play like ridiculously complicated sort of German board games because not many people want to play those. Like no one really wants to come around, have like really strong German beer, listening to Kraftwerk and playing Power Grid. Like
you need more German friends.
Yeah, the only people who want to do that is me. So
and a lot of Germans probably.
Almost certainly, because they kept board games alive.
I really like the Paradox stuff. I'm going to Gamescom. So we're recording this on Thursday. I'm going to Gamescom on Monday on DevCom, which is like the developer conference. And I'm like Paradox is one of my go-to places. So they got some really good stuff going on.
Yeah. So I've been playing quite a bit of that. It's just a good, complicated thing. I was really rusty. I'd forgotten how to launch naval invasions. So I sort of stood around for ages trying to work out how the fuck I could do it.
Shit, honey, I forgot to how to launch naval invasions.
Yeah, because it's kind of complicated. Because there's like, how many button presses there? You have to select naval invasion button. You have to select the port you want to launch the naval invasion from. You have to select the coast where you want to invade. You also then have to have your divisions that you want to send in the right port, and then based on certain factors you can only transport certain numbers. So I spent like half an hour just sitting there being like, I clicked everything's ready to go, and there's just this message saying like there are no units selected to carry out this order. I don't understand why, and it's because I was trying to move 11 divisions when I could only take 10.
Oh god!
So it wasn't just like I'll send 11. I'll send just 10 and leave 1. It's like no, you can't do that.
That's Hitler's mistake. You know, that's why we lost the war. He always tried to move more than 10 divisions.
Yeah, and some things are like he was like left clicking, not right clicking.
yeah, exactly. Hey, my brain, I keep remembering now, like managing divisions in that game. Oh crap.
Yeah, like I've kind of been, because I've been like watching the streams of people playing it and stuff. I've kind of like got the whole getting back into the rhythm of getting the combat width of 20, and then building divisions that are like good at certain stuff, and you have enough organization not to just immediately fall over straight away, because like tank divisions don't have a lot of staying power. You got to like put in infantry divisions to give them organization.
You don't need infantry divisions. First in the line of fire, dude.
In this game you do, because otherwise, if they take losses, then they'll fall back.
Don't take any losses. Just keep moving.
That's the thing. Just get bigger tanks that are more durable.
Leave your dad, and just keep moving.
Speaking of tanks, there's a thing to do with tanks.
Oh, yes.
And the lyrics of that song.
Oh, yes. So Sabaton have made a video for Primo Victoria, which is like for World of Tanks.
Yes, actually for wargaming, because they're doing the gig at Gamescom.
With a German, apparently a famous German director who's very known for doing like advertising videos and shit with tanks. And
the tanks are cool.
There is now a tank called the Primo Victoria in World of Tanks.
Oh, well, now I have
from
to play World of
today.
Tanks.
Well, look at the. I'm gonna put a link in the show notes. Look at their blog post. There's pictures of the tank. It's got like a Sabaton logo on the side.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Just look at the front. It's got like the plating. It's got like Joachim plating. See that?
Oh, that's so cool.
And also in the back, like if you look in the back of the turret, there's like guitars. It's like guitar bags.
On the back of the turret.
Yeah.
It's
like on the back of the turret, there's like this kind of mesh thing.
That's cool.
Apparently, it has like the Sabaton guys as crew in the tank. So I think I need to play World of Tanks again. Yeah, this is really cool. I mean,
I've never dipped into. So there's World of Tanks, there's World of Warships, and is there a World of Warplanes? Presumably,
I think yes. I've only played World of Tanks and World of.
Because I've not played either of them. I played some War Thunder, which is kind of like Arcadia, a more arcade version of it. That had like ships, not ships. It had like planes and tanks and stuff.
Yeah, they have new stuff, like they have more arcadey gameplay modes these days and shit.
Because it's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it's kind of fun though. I think this is like how PR should work. Like apparently Sabaton, they've been playing. I mean, Joachim is often like in interviews has talked about how like they would play video games. That's like how he and Per started like writing their songs. They would like play I don't know, Counter-Strike or something. And he keeps talking about that. So apparently they play World of Tanks, which I totally believe. I mean, it's fucking Sabaton. It's like a real good mashup.
Yeah, and then you are going to go to the gig.
Yeah, on Friday I'm gonna cover that.
So is it on like next Friday, not tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow. It's like on Gamescom Friday. It's like the Wargaming has like a player party. And so Sabaton I'm gonna play.
That's cool. I should petition CCP to get them out for.
How good is that? I mean, come on, that's just like so good. So good. Yeah, really, really, really happy about that just happening. I really also like World of Tanks. It's one of the very few free-to-play games that I think is really good. Like, I mean, I'm not really playing. Like, I have a colleague, actually one of our deputy editor-in-chiefs at work is like, he plays, I think he only plays like World of Tanks.
It's one of those ones that people who are into it are like,
yes, to compare this tank to that, and it's like what, and then this, and then I keep losing with like I'm playing like the fast tanks, and I keep losing. Well, they're supposed to be really good and shit like that.
Yeah, it seems like a fun thing to kind of theory craft like good shit in, but like competing with all the other things that are around, it's never really come to the top. But I might give it a go. I might try getting that skin or that specific tank for it.
I mean, this is the whole Sabaton video game connection is why I got into 7, right? Because they were on, wasn't it like Hearts of Iron on the soundtrack?
No, wasn't it? They also were in Crusader Kings.
Oh yeah, they were in Crusader Kings. Yeah, that was it. And later on, they were in Hearts of Iron.
Yeah, and now in Hearts of Iron, they've got 2 DLC packs.
Yeah, which I bought because...
Which I've got, so like I'm playing it and then it's this lovely orchestral music and then it's just like tank music.
It's awesome. And then it's like Primo Victoria.
Good shit. Is it on Steam? Or tank?
No, you mean...
World of Tanks?
No, I don't think it is. No.
Oh, that's weird. But it's a game. Games are on Steam, fam.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I don't know. I think it might have been because, like, if you're on Steam, don't you have to do like the in-game purchases through Steam?
I think, and Steam's going to take a cut.
And they're going to take a cut, and I think that's how they make all their money. So,
Fair. Okay.
plus also like they don't really need to be on Steam. I think
No, at this point, no.
they pretty much have their like audience.
It's more convenient. I don't want.
I know. Like for my problem is I forget about games that are not on Steam. Like Steam is my library. Like I think I said this before on the show, where it's like I have to put FIFA like into Steam, like as a link, because otherwise I'll forget that it exists.
Yeah.
When I'm like I want to play something, I just fire up Steam. You know.
Yeah. Same. So I have Steam and BattleNet turn on at startup, and like those are the ways I get to games. So anything kind of outside that's weird, because then I like worry about do things have patches? So on the weekend, we were setting up Ellie's PCs, just updating things, and putting The Sims 3 on it. And the PC is sufficiently new, built recently, that The Sims 3 installed from the disk does not work. Like nothing renders. You can see water and reflections, but nothing in the reflections. Like you can tell there would be reflections if the rest of the world had loaded.
Why?
And I was like, man, we clearly need some patches. And I was like, I don't know how to patch games anymore. Like I remember having to download them off
right. Okay. Yeah. That kind of
Geek or whatever.
What?
Yeah. Remember I remember having a DVD written.
Yeah.
With the Dawn of War patches that we'd share it.
Yes. This is ages ago.
So then we eventually we realized we could install Origin, and then it would auto detect the Sim 3 and then just patch it automatically.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I got Origin as well.
That's when you even happy for Origin.
Yeah, I literally just forgot I had Origin until I remembered that was the solution to the problem. So I mean, it's not that good of a service. So yeah, it's weird. We should play at some point, but also PUBG.
PUBG, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Totally. Speaking of playing shit.
Yeah.
Apparently Necromunda is back.
Yeah, so this is kind of baffling because, so if people don't know, Necromunda is kind of like a spin-off. What they call it? The oh god, I can't remember the name of it. They had the kind of spin-off games like Necromunda, Inquisition, Blood Bowl.
Necromunda is the Hive one, actually.
Yeah, so
I used to play that back in the day.
They're kind of set in the 40k universe, or in a Games Workshop universe.
And came out in 1995, just to make you feel young again.
I was 2. That was a very long time ago. So they're generally different to the normal games. They're kind of on a different scale. So Epic, which was specialist games. They used to be called specialist games. Epic, which was quite old, was on a massive scale. So you'd have Titans that were 2 centimeters tall. Whereas this is kind of gang warfare in the Underhive. And you'd have a gang of lads, 10 or so. And you'd have a skirmish. And it's back. Everyone really liked it. And it's back. I got some new sculpts. The models look really nice. I'm just baffled because I thought that was what Shadow War Armageddon was.
Are the rules the same?
I can't really tell. So when Shadow War came out, people were saying, man, it's basically Necrom, different characters.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So as far as they've not released the rules for Necromunda yet, but they've just announced that it'll be there. And
maybe the rules are just the same, and they're just different models.
Because that would be really kind of shit. Because I don't know. I don't know. It just feels weird that they got 2 identical competing games, not from like
Warhammer and Warhammer 40k.
No, but those do you like science fiction or do you like fantasy? It's do you like science fiction or do you like science fiction set in the same world? It doesn't make sense. It's not a problem. I'm not worried for them financially. It's just that I've already got stuff for Shadow War. I've got 1 and a bit armies for Shadow War. And I kind of would like to play it again, and I don't really want people being oh man, I'm not playing Shadow War, I'm playing Necromunda, it's better. When I'm yeah, but I don't want to. I mean, these models are kind of cool. Everyone's saying they're really nice, but I'm it's not Space Marine.
I think their thinking is, I think that's also why they released the other one first, that people will buy
maybe
the other one and this one just for the name and the the nostalgia. Maybe
it could be. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna see what it's like. I'm probably not gonna put in any pre-orders for it because I've got a massive pile of stuff to paint. So
God, I've got to unpack first.
Yeah, you got to put everything on your hobby table and get painted. Yeah, you got loads of stuff.
That's good. I have I have a table now. Like it's mine and Katie's. Katie's gonna put like her hobby stuff on there as well. But
Sweet.
I have a table where I can keep stuff out, which is great.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we're still like packing stuff away when we're not using it, which just gets to be like a bit of a drag.
The only thing I need in this room now to be perfect is like a fridge.
Yeah, how's that going to go? Have you raised that as a requirement?
I've
Have
talked
you
about this.
the
Yes,
requisition form.
yes. It's going through the bureaucracy of the Holy Katie institution. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, so Necromunda came back, like was announced the other day. Go see how it goes. I think it's like going to be released at the Forge World Open Day, which was announced today. Yeah, it's coming like not too far away. I don't think the pre-orders are up yet, but
When's Open Day?
It's not that. They were selling tickets on the weekend. They had some spare ones at Warhammer World, and they were just tweeting it like,
Right.
"There's one left. Quick, come get it." So I think it's probably like in a couple of weekends' time. Yeah, interesting. I would be interested to see like what people prefer, because I mean I know what I prefer, but there seems to be a lot of love for it from people who were slightly more grown up than I was.
We're
at the time.
alive when no.
I was alive. I just was not
like
rolling dice.
yeah, when they can remember
Mm.
the time.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, you've been watching that film that you're looking forward to.
I finally saw the Dark Tower. I was gonna review it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't because what was that on? Because I had that talk at the police department at the same day. I couldn't really turn those guys down, so a colleague did that. But then I I'm in Hamburg now, and there's a dedicated cinema here that shows English movies, which is great.
Yeah, you saw it in English, right?
Yeah, I always want to do that, so that's like hard in Hanover. That was like bloody hard to do.
Right.
It's like the cinema has usually just one film on one day in the week, like on one showing. It'll be like the original version, and here is a dedicated cinema. They also show like from the National Theatre and stuff, like live or something sometimes from the RC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are cool. We've been to one of those. That's really good.
Yeah, and so I
went to see Shakespeare in Dublin with that.
Oh yeah, you talked about that. Yeah. So I finally got to see it. Really interesting. Really different, obviously, from the books. Kind of like most of the themes from the first book, with like some stuff mixed in from the later books. Like it starts with like a scene that is in like book 6 or something.
Okay.
When they're in Devatoy and they're kind of attacking the tower and shit. Obviously, completely different story. I really like their approach. Like I am still, you know what I said when we talked about this, and I said I think that's the right approach, not to like film it as the books are.
Yes,
which I think
that it's an interpretation of it rather than like a like a scene for scene.
I think
remake.
I think if you watch like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, like that's my problem with those movies. They're way too close to the books, I think.
Oh man, they cut all the good shit, man. We never had Tom Bombadil. We never found out about the women Ents.
But I think there are like, if you look at them as movies, devoid from the books, they're not good movies. Because I personally think because they're not trying to be just a good movie. They're trying to be a movie adaptation of a book.
Yes,
and
I can see where you come from with that.
I like when they so their approach for this was obviously to take the spirit of the thing and make a good movie. Now, I think that's the right approach. There are some problems with the way they did it. Namely,
are we spoiling?
Well, I think yes. I mean, we spoiled the Dark Tower before, although there's not that much spoilers in here.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Like if you well, if you haven't read any of them, read the books first, and that's gonna take you ages. But I think we need to, like, we talked about this before, we spoiled this before, so major spoiler for the Dark Tower if you don't want that. There's timings in the show notes so you can see where you can skip to. But the books end with Roland finding the tower, getting into it where he wants to be. He finds a door, he steps through, and we see that the whole story will begin again. So he has to relive the whole thing, but it's different because we see him like in the original stories. There's a thing called the Horn of Eld, which is like this battle horn that he had, which one of his companions loses at a battle way before the stories of the books actually take place. So he doesn't have the horn, like, because Cuthbert lost it like years ago. Cuthbert being his friend, but then he goes through and he has the horn. And in this you can see they never mention it, but like in Roland's pack that Idris Elba's carrying around, the horns in there. So their point is like, this is the next way through for Roland, and that's the way they are saying, like, this is canon actually, but it's just like the next iteration of the way through the story, Okay.
Yeah.
Which also kind of explains why, Roland is now black instead of looking like Clint Eastwood. And I think that's a good idea. Now, what they completely botch with this is a sense of like travel and place. If you read the books, they're really slow. There's lots of traveling. There's lots of walking, lots of traveling by train. It gives you a sense, like the first book is essentially, King wrote it when he watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and he came out of the cinema, and he was, like he says in the foreword, that he was completely in awe of like the cinematography in those spaghetti westerns.
Okay.
He actually says in the foreword, you have to see them in the cinema because they're just not the same when you watch them on a home screen. And so the first book especially is like, it goes on about the mountains and the desert and like how big everything is and all this kind of the sense of traveling there, the sense of the grit of the sand and shit like that. And they completely miss that. Also, there's no sense of travel. The movie's really short, 1.5 hours, which I really like actually in these days of like movies being like horrendously.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that short. I'm kind of like, because that's a whole nother thing about me just thinking films don't respect your time anymore.
I like that it's short, but it completely destroys any sense of travel. Also, they go through portals all the time, which happens in the book very selectively. But here it's like you get no sense of how big Midworld is, where they're going. That's completely obliterated. They have no scenes. They don't show the Dark Tower like in its normal state. They only show it being attacked. And the Man in Black is a servant of the Crimson King, who's the big bad guy, is basically the devil. He wants to tear down the tower. So the idea is there are many worlds, many universes. Ours is one. And Midworld, where Roland comes from, is another. The Dark Tower is in the middle of all of those. It is in Midworld because that's just, well, in Endworld actually, but in that world. And it keeps the universe as it is. Like outside of the universe, there are demons that are trying to get in. It's kind of like Warhammer, basically. And the Crimson King wants to tear down the tower so the demons can take over into like Pandemonium and the Apocalypse. And the Man in Black wants to do that. So he wants to attack the tower. Now, these attacks on the tower in the books happen like really late. It's really late until you even learn what the Dark Tower is. Like for the first couple of books, it's just Roland wants to get the tower. And you have no fucking clue what that's about. Actually, these whole books are based on a really old English poem called Childe Roland to the Dark Tower Came. Okay. So that's where that idea comes from. I think in the beginning, they had no idea what the Dark Tower was. It was just like this abstract thing that Roland wanted to find kind of his goal. And the thing is, they show like the attacks on this tower, but they don't show the tower in its majesty, right? In its huge, like they don't give you a sense of like, okay, this is the thing that holds the universe together. It's just the fucking big tower that gets attacked by like psychic beams. It's kind of like Marvel shit, and you're like, it takes away the awe of the tower. Like in the books, in the very end, when Roland actually sees the tower, I almost cried. Because you've been reading like 7 books, and they've been going on about this tower.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he finally sees it, it's like a jaw-dropping moment. Here you see the tower right in the beginning, and it takes everything. I would have not shown this tower at all in this movie.
Oh, wow.
Which I think they didn't have the balls. You basically can't do that. You can't call the movie The Dark Tower and then not show the tower. I think that would be cool, but yeah. I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, because I like doing the thing where the title of the film happens in the film. I quite like to clap at that point. That happened in Spider-Man, which we'll get onto. But I don't think any director like making a kind of mass market film is going to do that.
Yeah, so that's my negative stuff about this. I think it's actually a good movie. We saw it with a friend of ours, and she's never read the books, and she liked the movie. She thought it was good. I mean, there's lots of stuff that happening that you won't get.
Right.
I mean, there's stuff like the Man in Black says to Roland at one point, "Did you tell them what happened to the old crew?" Which is like a reference to his companions in the books, you know.
Right.
Which are not in this. I mean, in this, there's only Jake in this, the boy. So it's basically, it starts with Jake getting visions of the tower, and everybody thinks he's mad. Like everybody thinks that, and he goes to shrink and whatever. And then he finds the door and basically meets Roland. So what I really, really adore about this movie is like the cinematography I really liked, actually. Mm-hmm. And Matthew McConaughey is just, he owns this movie.
I was going to ask how he was.
I think Idris Elba actually has more screen time.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Kind of main dude.
McConaughey completely obliterates him. And now this is not because Idris Elba's bad. Idris Elba is Idris Elba. He is great. He is as you would expect him to be. The problem is, I don't think he has the best lines. I actually don't think... Well, it's hard to do because basically Roland is Clint Eastwood as the man with no name, right? So, he, you know, if you ever seen The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, any of those movies, Eastwood doesn't talk much, which is the point. So, in the books, Roland is like this really considerate, like, kind of tough, but also like he doesn't talk much, and he's not a pithy guy, you know. So Idris Elba kind of actually nails that, but he gets completely obliterated by a Man in Black. McConaughey looks amazing. He's got like dark hair. They completely shaved him, like he's got like shaved. He looks like oily. He looks really, really creepy, but not in a I'm trying to be creepy way. He looks like in a... He is also like, you'd think, like, he pulls off that you actually kind of think he's nice. Like, you know when bad guys do like I'm nice now.
It's like, oh, we're the same, you and I. We're
but
same thing. Yeah.
He just... You completely buy him being nice, but at the same time, he's actually also creepy. You sympathize with him because he's just a fun guy, but he's also very, very evil. And like he has this magic powers that are just like, okay, in the end, there's like at some point he has like a flame in his hand. That's like the most magic he does. When he fights Roland shoots at him, and he just he does like the Emperor thing in Star Wars where he throws rocks at him. Like force power. But before all of that, the only thing you see in the beginning, you have a scene where he kills Roland's father. Yes. So Roland and his father are like back-to-back standoff. Man in Black turns up, and he just goes, stop breathing. And Roland's father dies.
Whoa.
And then Roland gets mad, like the Man in Black turns around, goes away, and Roland shoots at him. Like he shoots a single bullet, like right at the back of his head. And he just goes, like, takes his hand and pinches, like, the bullet. Like, as if he would have had caught a fly or something.
Wow.
And then just takes the bullet and goes. And he has this thing where he just keeps telling people like stop breathing, and they just stop breathing and die.
Wow. So
But, like-
what's the kind of like law reason why it doesn't just get smushed by him?
Sorry, you cut out for a little bit there.
Why does Roland like survive? Like why
Okay,
does the Man in Black-
Roland he actually says that in the movie. Like Roland is a very powerful psychic. In like a King describes it as like dogged mindedness. So he's kind of immune. He said like, oh yeah, Roland, you've always been immune to my tricks. So basically, he his magic mostly is kind of mentalist kind of thing.
Right.
Like in the book, that's the same thing. Like at the end of the first book, Roland and the Man in Black meet,
Right.
and then you actually think the Man in Black's dead because he actually lets. So he basically what he does is he shows Roland a vision of like the universe, of like starting with him, and then the I don't know the midworld, the world, the planet, the solar system, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like the galaxy, the local group, and it just like blows Roland's mind. And then it all goes all back together, and like the whole universe is like in a marble that's like the scene in Man in Black where like the alien holds the marble.
Yeah.
That's basically taken from, I think, the Dark Tower. I think King. So he does that thing, and then Roland falls asleep. I think he sleeps like 100 years or something.
Right.
Wakes up, and there's a skeleton there. And so you think the Man in Black's dead, but actually he just put a skeleton there. Like that's this kind of magic he does. It's not like thunderbolt and lightning kind of shit.
Yeah. It's like the Darren Brown kind of not actually doing magic, more like
Yeah, it's it's actually really cool. McConaughey completely pulls this off. Like when he says stop breathing, it's like almost like as an aside. It's not like stop breathing. It's like stop breathing, and the guy just falls over. And he is just like I think people have to see this movie. Just watch it. I think it's worth it. It's worth it for McConaughey. For his performance is fucking good. I love that guy. He's a great actor. I love him in almost anything he does. But like he nails this. He completely nails the Man in Black Martin in this. It's so good. And in the end, like Roland like shoots at him a lot, and then he just like he throws rocks. What he do is actually Roland shoots at him, and he keeps plucking the bullets out of the air,
right.
And then he like throws them back like really fast, and he actually hits Roland with one and shit. And he throws like glass shards and impales Roland's hand and shit. And Alba is like that's the stuff he can really do well. I'm wounded, fuck, I've got a huge shard of glass through my hand, I'm in the middle of a firefight, I'll just pull that out with my teeth. And there's actually the really good scene with Alba is when he gets to New York and he's like really sick, so he goes to a hospital, which is actually happens in a kind of a different setup in the books, but and they get like he's like Jake takes his guns and he doesn't want to give his guns away. And he's like, trust me, you don't want to go with guns into a hospital in this world. And then he's like, the next scene is like, he's in bed. They obviously took care of his infection or whatever it was. And actually, it's the same in the book. He's like nearly dying in Midworld, and then he just gets aspirin from our world or like, antibiotics.
Oh, right,
and he gets healed, which they don't have in Midworld. But anyway, so he's in a hospital and there's like is a cut, and there's like the doctor comes in with like a battery of like medical students. So it's like when they have a special case, this kind of stuff they do.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, Mr. Deshane, how are you feeling?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." It's like, "It's amazing you can sit up. Like the stuff you've been through." It's like he's like, "I heal fast." It's like, okay, so you had this infection, and then okay, we also found hepatitis A, B, C, E, radiation exposure. It just keeps going on. It's
wow,
like,
I guess that's
were you out of the country recently? And then he just then she's like, okay, we're gonna keep you here for a few nights. And he's like, no. He just pulls out like the shunts in his arms. And she's like, no, you can't really do that. Yeah, I'm leaving. And he just gives her like a coin and says like, this is for your service. It's really good. I think, it's really, McConaughey is just, oh god, Idris Elba's good, but like McConaughey is good. And also the guy who plays Jake is not annoying. So
That's good.
He's like a kid in a movie, which usually for me is like...
Yeah, that was going to be another concern. It's like, it's a kid in a movie.
Most of the time I can't stand that. No, he's really good. He's a good actor. He's not annoying at all.
Good.
He's kind of like Jake is in the books. He's like an old soul. It's kind of his thing. Like he gets actually reborn and shit. And he does nail that. But like, oh god, McConaughey is just, he's so good. He is so good. It's like, this is actually one of the best performances I've seen in a movie in a long time, because also it's not an easy role. He's like, Martin is not the stereotypical like Randall Flagg or whatever you call him. He's not the stereotypical bad guy. He's also quite charming. Actually in the books in his guise as Martin Broadclock back when, Walter as he's called, is correct. He's Walter or Dim now, but back in the day he was like Martin Broadclock, and he actually seduced Roland's mother when his father was away. So Roland would take the test as a gunslinger, which is like you have to fight your teacher, and when you're not ready, your teacher will win and you'll be exiled.
Right.
And so he did that, so Roland would get exiled and wouldn't become a gunslinger. But Roland is like the youngest guy to ever like take this test, and he actually just passes with a trick, basically. It's also kind of like in this, like when they fight, in the end, he bests the Man in Black, but the way he kind of shoots him is like special. It's like a special trick. I won't spoil that because that's really cool. The way he does that, it's really good. Yeah, and then the movie ends really quickly, actually, and it ends with like Roland saying to Jake, well, you don't have a place here, and they go to Midworld. And then it's obviously kind of the setup for like the TV show, I guess they're planning.
Yeah, so is the TV show going to like carry on from this?
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be happening, because this movie kind of flopped. Well, it didn't exactly flop, but it didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah, I've not seen like it do gangbusters.
I've heard that the series will be Roland's time in Mages, which is my favorite book. That's book 4, which is basically a flashback to when Roland is young.
Okay.
And he goes with his 2 gunslinger friends, Elaine and Cuthbert, and their father sent them to like this frontier town where like shit's been happening, and then like shit hits the fan. Like sounds Roland falls in love, and then shit just goes bad. So I don't think in this TV show, I mean, they said Idris Elba's involved, but he wouldn't be like, unless they change everything again, he wouldn't be the main guy, because Roland was like 16 when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
It's cool. Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to go see it. It looked cool.
You should. Like, even if you don't watch it in the cinema, if it comes out like on streaming or whatever, you should watch it just for McConaughey. He is great. Like when he kills, to spoilers, but like, okay, he killed Jake's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really grim.
Oh no.
It's not actually grim because you don't see anything, but like his way.
The implication is highly grim.
Like, he's so good. Like so basically Jake's mother and her like Jake's stepfather come home. And the house, they think the house is empty, right? And like Walter's just in the kitchen. And he's just like, I hope you didn't mind making myself at home. We don't have chicken where I come from. And smiles and just whacks a chicken in half. And she actually recognizes him then from from the drawings. Like Jake's dad's like, get the fuck out of here. And she's like, oh god, it's the guy from Jake's paintings. And then his like stepdad just wants to like kick his like he takes a step towards Man in Black and he just goes, "Stop breathing." Guy dies. It's just like it's good. He's really good. I have
Sweet.
a huge boner for Matthew McConaughey.
I can tell. Yeah, no, it's good. I'll go see it. You sold me.
Cool. So Spider-Man, hey?
Yeah,
I didn't see this, but like a colleague who reviewed it for us really didn't like it.
really didn't like it. Holy shit! No,
He was like, "This is like a teeny fucking rom-com shitty."
Oh, okay. Well, so the problem is that is what Spider-Man films are. I'm sorry, but that is the kind of key thing of Spider-Man. It is a thing for people growing up. It is a growing up thing. Like turning into Spider-Man is basically sort of like a metaphor for like puberty. So that's what it's always going to be. And at this point, it's like the third reboot we've had in my lifetime. So at this point, we're kind of like getting there. And I'm thinking, fuck, do I actually want to sit around and watch it again? Because it wasn't such like, as a kid, I didn't really like the first lot.
The answer for me to that was no.
Yeah, the second reboot, the first reboot I remember, it was kind of good. It was all right. It seemed to do like all right things. They made a second one, which was less good, and then it got caught up in like a sort of like who owns Spider-Man kind of thing. And then this one's the first one back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's really good. So Spider-Man,
which is apparently why Iron Man turns up and gives him like a suit.
Yes.
Why does he need a suit? He's Spider-Man. He can just like
it's Spider-Man always has a suit, but it's in
the normally it's just like a lycra suit, isn't it? Like the suit isn't special.
Yeah, but in this he's kind of like less powerful. So he's got like his web slingers aren't like part of him.
I think that's like the original, isn't it? Like in the 60s or whatever that was.
It all depends on like what incarnation you are, but like in this, he's kind of got like an Iron Man heads-up display kind of thing with a sassy kind of like
the fuck
butler personality, which is kind of cool. It's good. I really enjoyed it. The butler lady is called Karen. It's really good. So yeah, it's in Civil War. They set it up where they introduce him as like a character, so that's the first time he's seen is in Civil War, and this is kind of an origin story, but it's not really. It's kind of, I think it's because they knew that we've already had the origin story twice, and then like 3 times if you watch the cartoon, and then more if you watch anything else or read any of the comic books. In that we all know the bloody story, so it starts off with him already being Spider-Man and him doing stuff, but it's about like him learning to be a superhero rather than learning to be Spider-Man. So I'm probably going to end up spoiling it. So spoiler alert at this point. So yeah, it's following him, kind of trying to prove himself. So Tony Stark takes him on as like, because it's not really explained, but he doesn't have like a dad. It's clear that his parents have died, but he's like with his aunt, but there's no uncle. So Tony Stark sort of like takes on this kind of like father figure kind of thing. And it's about like Peter Parker trying to like prove himself like that. Yeah, he can be an Avenger too. He can go do things. And there's this whole arc about him like, helping people on the street, doing like grunt work, and then noticing bad shit's happening. So the kind of main villain arc is there's a cleanup crew who clean up, like they sort of salvage things. And after the events of Avengers 1, they're like cleaning up the Battle of New York, and then they get kicked off the job, and Tony Stark's company comes and does it all. And they sort of go, oh man, rich people are just getting richer. So they kind of go and sort of basically do sort of a black market thing.
Go rogue!
They kind of go rogue. They kind of take alien technology and like turn it into badass weapons.
Of course.
You got to have like something to compete. It's interesting. I think the bad guy is basically Vulture. He's a guy. He's got wings, and just like it's kind of cool because it's not one of those things that's going to turn into like a Dragon Ball Z, people firing like abstract representations of energy in the form of laser beam. at each other for 30 minutes.
Oh
Like,
god,
there's
that was like that Superman, Man of Steel. God,
Yeah,
that was so bad.
not the best. So, but this is good because it's kind of like there's like kind of like a little bit of a heist thing going on with stealing stuff from Tony Stark. It's good, but it's kind of like it's him kind of growing up. There is a moment where the title of the film happens in the
my
in the
colleague
film,
found that
because
really
it's
annoying.
like the end of the
and
school year.
it
And
sounded
there's like the homecoming
God, the
prom
fucking
thingy, and they like
fuck!
put up the sign that says homecoming. And a little clap. Hey, you got the title of the film. So yeah, that's legit. It's really good. I really enjoyed that it wasn't an origin story again. That they kind of assumed some level of knowledge about the Marvel universe, and also of Spider-Man, which I think you could probably fault them for if it's like a 2-year-old, like a kid who this is their first Spider-Man, but it's not my first Spider-Man.
It really
Nor will
sounds.
it be most people's.
It really sounds like I wouldn't have liked it.
I would probably recommend people go see it if they haven't seen it. It's been out for ages now. But it was kind of good. It's got like just nice arcs. It's quite long. Like that's the thing about Dark Tower that you said it's 90 minutes. That this is like 2 hours 17 or something, which
Fuck's
is
sake.
far too long, really. But it's got kind of setting the preamble like half an hour, and it's got the actual sort of like 3-part arc of him finding the bad guys, him like trying to do the stuff, going on like saving people along the way, falling in love with someone who then the bad guy turns out to be his dad, which like her dad, which was like the most obvious thing, but it kind of worked. And there's like the cool bit at the end where the dad's the villain is kind of smart and works out who Peter Parker is, and like basically gives him a threat saying like, you know, you can forget being Spider-Man, continue like just go back to a normal life, or just like continue being Spider-Man, just don't mess with me and we'll all be fine. But Spider-Man can't do that because like reasons, and the kind of whole thing about him becoming a superhero, like rather than just being a super powered person, but like becoming a hero. There's this bit where Tony Stark takes his suit off him because he does some stupid shit, and he goes back to his old suit he made himself. That's kind of satisfies you. Basically, it's just like him in a onesie. But he like the final battle is basically him in the one fighting the bad guy because he's a superhero and that's what they do. They don't give up. And it was just really good, kind of heartwarming.
God.
It was really wholesome.
You know what?
Wholesome.
I think I'm just getting fed up with Marvel things. I think I can't watch them anymore. So before the Dark Tower, there was like a trailer for some Thor Hulk thing. Like the next Avengers, I think. What's that called? Ragnarok of...
Oh, Thor Ragnarok.
I have no idea. I can't even remember what it was. I just remember the title was really cool 80s style.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was because it was just like the Hulk smashing things. Thor smashing the Hulk smashing Thor and the Hulk smashing other guys. Hey, Carl Urban got like buff. Really like him without hair. That's kind of cool. That lady from Lord of the Rings is now evil. Smash, bam.
Yeah, you're clearly not like the target audience for this. So yeah, you don't have
I think I was. I think I'm just. It's just oversaturation. I think I just like. There's just too much. It's all the fucking I was looking forward to these movies like a few years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's like always the same. It's like one guy smashes the other guy. Great. CGI happens.
I think you'd probably enjoy like this far more than any of the other ones. So a while back, I complained about Doctor Strange. I think it's infinitely better than Doctor Strange. I didn't like that at all. I think it's quite a bit better than Ant-Man as well, though I tend to be on the opposite side of people with that and saying Ant-Man was garbage. But I see what you mean. I was super excited up until Avengers 1. I really loved Avengers 1. And then like kind of felt like, man, that's the end. That's great. We're done.
I heard that Carl Urban might, once they're doing this Mega City 1 show.
Yeah.
And Carl Urban wants to return as Dredd.
I would be so happy with that.
I want that. Scrap all the Star Trek shit. Scrap everything. I just want Carl Urban as Dredd.
Yeah.
Make
Dredd.
5 movies of that and then
one of my favorite films. It's just-
Have Matthew McConaughey be like the bad guy.
yeah,
Done.
like,
Sold.
it'd be so good. Like Matthew McConaughey can be Judge Death. It'll be pretty.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh, you know what I'm gonna watch? What Marvel thing I'm gonna watch?
Mhm.
The Venom one.
There's a Venom one.
Well, they're doing a spin-off Venom. Guess who's playing Venom?
Is it Matthew McConaughey?
No.
Is it Carl Urban?
No.
Who else do you like? Is it someone from Firefly? Is it someone from The
No.
Expanse?
Nope.
Who is it? I have no idea. I give up.
Tom Hardy.
Oh no way! Okay,
Yeah.
he's gonna be great Venom.
Yeah.
Edgelord. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
he's good at anything. Like that's just gonna be
That's
good.
gonna be legit. But yeah, when we went like thinking like the whole like Marvel saturation stuff is that there's the whole other like Marvel TV shit.
Yeah, I'm not watching that at all.
Like I don't watch the Netflix stuff, and there's also like the normal like cable TV stuff as well. Because we went to the cinema and we like saw this massive poster for the Inhumans, which is basically the legally distinct X-Men because Marvel don't own the film rights to the X-Men, so they created Inhuman to be the X-Men in all but lore. And there's this massive poster for it. I'm like, what the fuck is Inhumans? Like, I haven't heard about this film. And it turns out it's just literally like a TV series, and they shot it in IMAX, or they shot the first episode in IMAX.
Right.
So you can see it in the cinema. I'm like, Jesus, there is so much Marvel stuff. But I'd be really happy if it was like just stuff like Spider-Man.
I just want Tom Hardy as Venom. I'm Venom.
That'd be pretty cool. Was it Venom? What was it?
Well, Venom is the guy who like gets infected. He's like bad.
Was that the one that had the 90s TV show?
Could be like he's
cartoon.
like Black
Was
Spider-Man.
the bad guy called like Mal Bulger or something?
Oh God.
Venom TV show. No, it was like a cartoon, wasn't it? Well, what am I thinking of?
Well, there's a comic series. I think.
I might be thinking of something else that's not Venom.
Venom is like an alien, isn't he? Like
It's like bad Spider-Man. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he gets like infected. It's like this. He's got like this black goop. It's like Tunguska shit.
Yeah. God, what am I thinking of?
Actually, there are a lot of Venoms. Apparently, they're like hosts, different hosts. Of course, there are. The Bride of Venom. Holy shit! Oh
What?
God! I'm gonna send you like a link to this. Just click on the Bride of Venom. Holy, that was when comics were not
Bloody hell.
that were politically correct.
Man, like Venom is just like basically like we saw Spider-Man, we thought, but what if Xenomorph?
Yep.
What if aliens?
Yep.
That's
I
kind of
always
cool.
liked I always liked Venom. He was always my favorite, like Spider-Man. You know.
That'd be cool because like that could be a whole thing. Like that would be nice. So yeah, I left Spider-Man being pleasantly surprised with how good it was.
Okay.
And I am still unbelievably hyped for Thor Ragnarok because it's got Chris Hemsworth in it.
Well,
he's the
he
best.
looks better with short hair. Can tell you that much.
I like it all.
And
It's good.
Carl Urban looks great with shaven head. Carl Urban's good in anything. Carl Urban's kind of like he's Matthew McConaughey, Tom Hardy.
Yeah, he's one of those guys
territory.
who's just like solid in everything.
Yep, he's just good. He's a good Bones. I think like he's the
Yeah, no,
only,
he's really good as Spider.
he's the only one from like for the Calvin timeline shit
Oh yeah, that
where
you
I
prefer.
think that he actually nails the character.
Mm.
I don't think like the new Kirk's that good. I mean, he's Kirk on the outside, but that like flamboyant blonde guy who's a hit with the ladies. I think Scotty's really bad.
Yeah, Scotty doesn't fit at all. does he?
Don't get me wrong. I like what's his face? Who plays Scotty?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that one.
Scotty Kelvin timeline actor. I can't remember. Sean. What? What?
Oh God,
what's-
yeah.
Funny guy.
Hot Fuzz lad.
Yeah, that guy. What's
We are
his-
so bad at this. Hot
Why
Fuzz.
isn't this? What? Oh God! Memory Alpha's turned to shit. Actor.
Oh God, Simon Pegg.
Simon Peck, yeah. I like him, but he isn't Scotty. Like,
Yeah,
and Carl Urban actually nails Bones, which is weird because he looks completely different.
So yeah, there's almost like the thing with those is that like they're both kind of comic relief. Like Bones has loads of really funny lines, but Scotty ends up being the comic relief who also has a sidekick who's also the comic relief, and he's always a bit ridiculous. And he ends up like having scenes that are him just sort of like faffing around kind of uncontrollably, which never really
works.
Gels really? I see what you mean about that.
I think Bones is really hard to pull off because like he is like, even in the original series, he's comic relief, but like it's like very grudgingly pulling those lines off. Like DeForest Kelly was always kind of like he's got a special way of like delivering lines and shit. And I think Cullivan just nailed that. Apparently, he also didn't like DeForest Kelly like see that and was like actually like crying or something. I read a story that he was like really moved, although he couldn't, right, because he died in '99. That story must have been shit. Like when was the first Kelvin movie? Oh, God, shit. Maybe I'm making that up in my head.
Might be.
Star Trek Kelvin first movie. I'm even shit at Googling. We haven't done this. Star Trek film series reboot. 2009? Okay. So Dick Forrest Kelly couldn't have seen that. But I think, Caliban's really good at that. Mm-hmm. Even though he's like, the only thing he has in common is like the haircut, basically.
Yeah, true.
And not that really. So where were we? I don't know.
I was basically just saying like solid.
Watch Spider-Man.
Not top tier, but like definitely better than the average. And I feel like there are now enough bloody Marvel films and Marvel properties that like it's meaningful to say it's above the average because there's not just 4 of them. There's like
I feel like
would recommend people watch that.
I feel like there's now enough Marvel movies.
Another thing,
there is enough that we don't need more.
Yeah, one more thing.
No, we don't. You not like that. I obviously cut out on you, and I said we don't need more. There's enough Marvel. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Someone at some point asked
That's
me.
how all the good stories start.
Asked me to talk about streaming, like on the show, and like what we thought about it as like a thing.
Was that because of the PUBG show last time?
I think it probably was, yeah. And like what we think about it, like what do we watch? Like do we think that like this is it? Is it going to get bigger? Is it going to like shrink? Like that kind of thing. So like you've done some streaming. I've joined you on it. I used to do a little bit when I had decent internet. And I've watched quite a lot of it, you know, as you might have guessed. I'm kind of wondering like where it fits into like your kind of like consuming of media, because like obviously you're busy, so I assume the kind of like asynchronous watching YouTube videos is better for you.
Yeah. So the only thing I watch anyway is just like on demand stuff. So I don't watch TV anymore. I just watch Netflix because I can just watch that.
Yeah. I definitely watch more streamers than I do TV.
And I watch streaming mostly when I do other stuff. Mm-hmm. It's replaced a lot of my podcast listening actually.
Oh really?
So I just like I'll paint Warhammer shit or something. And
that seems to be a really common thing that people like watch a stream while painting Warhammer.
Because like especially something like, for example, I've been watching a lot of PUBG stuff because you don't need to watch the screen all the time. Yeah,
because there's like I still like listen to loads of podcasts. I think I've got like 30 podcasts in my podcast.
Well, my commute's on a
they don't have the kind of
my commute's on a motorbike. It's kind of hard to do.
They don't have the visual aspect, so I can do. You know, I'm one of those people who can do work while listening to people. Even it might not be the best work, but it like it might not be top tier, but it still like gets the job done.
All the variables are like funny, podcast names.
Yeah, it's like, oh man,
In
Cranky
jokes.
Crowbar. Shit, why do they call it that? Yeah, so I kind of like, it still hasn't kind of replaced that, but then kind of like in the evenings, like last week.
Why is this variable called pip?
Yeah, why is it talking about owls? Yeah, I kind of like, I don't know. I definitely used to watch quite a lot of uni when doing uni work. I could have that on the background and watch a shit ton of Pyrian Flags. Like, because again, like Dota and stuff like that, like there's quite a bit of downtime in Dota if like people are dead, if people like go at the shop or anything like that. Like there's
Like
plenty of
in
time
real life, there's
for them
lots
just,
of
like,
there's lots of downtime. People are dead. People go to the shops.
yeah, like it just sounds like real life. No, but like, and then if team fights aren't happening, if it's just like a laning phase or whatever, like it's good like that. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know, because it's recently, recently loads of people on Twitter, right, that I follow got made like Twitch partners. So like Maloki,
What?
long time friend. Yeah, Maloki and her partner are now like, you can subscribe on Twitch. Like quite a few other people ended up getting like partner status. So I don't know, I feel like it's getting. It
That's
seems
our
super
goal,
popular.
man. We need to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, I do. I want that. I don't know what for, but I want it now.
Custom emojis is the thing that you get, like emojis that you can
Yep, we need that.
in chat. But yeah, so you kind of confirmed that like you're not really the streamer person. Like, do you think it's gonna get bigger? Because like it's one of those things that like I've kind of gone on record saying that I think esports is gonna be huge.
What do you mean? I'm not like the streamer person.
So, well, but like it doesn't like fit into your routine. Like,
Well, no, it actually does better than podcasts. That's what I tried to say.
okay,
So
right.
because my commute, I can't listen to podcasts on the commute anymore. And when I'm like, for example, I was like, just the other day here, I was like after work, I was here, I was like unpacking boxes. I was just like watching Yogscast shit. It works for me because I often don't watch it because of the games. I watch it because of the people being funny.
Right. Yeah.
So it's basically like a podcast, but also like sometimes if I eat dinner or something alone or whatever, I can. It's also something you can look at if you want to, I often do it just to relax, after work, just like to switch off or whatever. So that works for me. I don't know if it's gonna get bigger. I mean, it's already huge, isn't it? Like, I mean, pretty much anybody who wants to stream can stream now.
Yeah,
which is kind of the key.
Like, I kind of feel like the audience is only going to get bigger, like for people watching it. But I kind of wonder, like, how much bigger it can be in the terms of, like, the number of people streaming. Because I feel like it's not a very kind of.
Well, I don't know if you go like future shit, right? Think about how stuff happens in The Expanse, like especially in the books, like where they have all these casts, like everybody's just streaming shit. I think it might just be like that. I think in the future, people might just be more, like, how is like weird, like, it's weird talking like this, you sound old, but like my generation or maybe even your generation still like very privacy focused and shit, and it's like I live out there. I've always been on social media and basically write about anything I do, which is seen as very weird by a lot of people. Like, that's definitely not how most people live their lives. I think it might just go more in that direction with people just doing this, and it might come to a point where like people are not streaming to become like famous and become like a TV star or whatever,
Right.
but they're just doing it for their friends.
Okay.
Yeah, or like smaller groups. I don't.
My kind of. Like, I kind of feel like the listenership isn't very like democratized in that there's loads of people watching the really.
Sorry, you cut out. Lots of people watching
the really popular people. So like, there's loads of people there, and then it very quickly tails into like people with like one follower.
Well, but that's how it always goes, doesn't it?
But I feel like it's more so in that, like, I don't know. I feel like we're at the point where like adding more streamers doesn't really get you anything. It's just that more people are going to grow up and watch this kind of not the same, but like the same number of. And I don't know. It's kind of a super weird place, and like the power of media creation has been put in like the hands of the people. But then I kind of feel like it's gonna just going to form big kind of distribution networks again, but not the same ones.
It's probably going to be the same number as it is now, but it's just going to be people circling in and out. Like it's like think about TV shows. Mm-hmm. There's always roughly the same number of TV shows being on at the same time by mandated by the channels.
I don't think that's true. I think they're far more. Like maybe we've peaked now, but like the number of shows on channels like increased dramatically.
Well, but they're not more channels, and they only have like 24 hours in the day. So
Oh no, there are far more channels like on cable and stuff. Like there are so many channels.
Well, but that's the same thing. Nobody bloody watches those. Like if you look at cable TV, there's like there's the big channels. That's the same in every country, and there's like lots of mediocre ones, which basically have lots of them have a lot fewer listeners than many YouTubers have. Or viewers than many YouTubers have. So I think it's the same thing. It's always like this kind of bell curve kind of thing that goes like just fades out at the ends, and it's going to be niche things. It's going to be Warhammer shit, which not that many people watch, but then like the FIFA stuff is just going to be popular as shit. I don't know. I don't think it's going to change.
I think you dropped out there.
Oh no! Well, we just lots of dropping here. It's not my connection. I'm like,
that's the only thing that's changed.
I'm right on the backbone of the internet, mate. Well, the thing I'm saying is like, I don't think it's gonna structurally change a lot. I think it's just gonna be more viewers because the distribution is gonna be more like there's gonna be something like Netflix that you can just put on your TV. Maybe it's gonna be Twitch, whatever. It's going to be easier to watch, and then more people will watch it. But I think the distribution will always be that there's few that are really famous, and then there's lots of people that have two.
I don't know. I'm pessimistic in that I think it's going to be someone like the Yogscast, maybe not the Yogscast, but will come along and they'll become like the cable distributor. No, because that doesn't really make sense. Like Twitch would be the cable distributor, but they'll become like the HBO. They'll become like the channel. And suddenly, like, all the little ones that, like, had a super niche following basically just disappear.
But why would that happen? Like, with the cable channel, traditionally, this has happened in radio and TV because it was impossible for you to just start broadcasting. The difference now is that anybody can do this.
I feel like they're going to, like, raise the bar. They're gonna be able to get the deals, get the advertising and the sponsorship and all that jazz, and then just put on a much better thing.
But then people will migrate away from that because like people watched the Yogscast in the beginning.
Why would they?
Well, because like it wasn't a TV show. It was low key. It was just like two guys playing Minecraft.
I suppose.
And that was cool, and people still want that. Like if you want big production value and like advertisers, you can already turn on the TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking they're just going to turn it into TV 2.0 where it's live again.
I don't think anything will ever be TV 2.0 because that's the thing with streaming. That's the thing I said in the beginning. Anybody can do it. That's the big thing. It's like podcasting. Anybody can do it. And that's, I mean, that's not going to change lots of the distribution and what people are watching generally, because there will always be a few that are really popular. But I think it, people say it democratizes it, but it at least gives people the chance to become that. And they could become that if they're just like, funny or whatever.
Okay. Well, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, by the way, because because you have shitty people. I don't know. Like in Germany, you have like BB, who's just like a dumb, stupid, fucking beauty blogger shit. Fucking, she did a video once where she's like, that iPad I thought I'd lost. I thought that got stolen. Actually, that was stuck in the back of my bed for a year.
Oh, wow.
People like that, I don't, I think we'll have a lot more like Big Brother shitty reality TV kind of stuff just streamed on Twitch,
That'd be bad.
So I don't think the content's going to necessarily be better.
Okay. Maybe neither of us.
We're neither of
Maybe there
us
should be
is
something better, and I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because it's kind of like I feel like there should be some sort of,
pessimistic in different ways.
There should be some regulation, Fab. They should have to like pass an exam to be like not a bell end to do it or something.
What the podcasting the official streaming register.
Yeah, you got to get like a license or something.
of Her Majesty
I don't know,
the Queen.
because it seems like so weird in that like streamers definitely target people, like basically children who do not know better, which is always the kind of
Are
weird.
you saying they're predators? What?
No, that the kids like are not aware of when something like is an advert or is paid for.
Oh, that.
Or
Yeah.
if they don't like, if the person has say some objectionable opinion, some bad opinion, that the kids like don't know.
Dude.
And basically it exists in this whole like weird space where parents don't know anything about it as well. I'm not saying that like ban it, that's bad. It kind of just like feels like it's kind of like it's the Wild West again.
I don't think it's kids. I think it's just people are dumb. They're exploiting dumb people. I don't think it's necessarily kids.
Okay, I'm kind of more okay with that bit though. The dumb people is less objectionable than like, the kind of the streamers who just open FIFA packs. That's not really kind of aimed at.
Well, if somebody wants to watch that, I mean, who am I to judge?
I don't know. It just feels weird. It just feels really like back when there was like the whole like Yogscast controversy, them like not based, doing the whole like paid video, like paid reviews basically, and they weren't disclosing it. It kind of like feels like that practice, just weird.
Yeah, that's just generally.
I don't know how you fix that because I kind of want that's what I want the regulation to fix. Just like the kind of shady behavior that like probably happens in TV, but at least there are actually
you can't
like in the UK, if you're running a competition, like you have to be like not have a license, but you basically have to be able to be audited. Like, did you do it fairly? And I feel like that is a kind of whole level of transparency.
You can't fix that. You can't fix that.
And when it's getting to like ludicrous popularity levels, like I feel like it's a thing that probably should happen.
You can't fix that with regulation. The problem is, you don't go away from TV. Just look at like print journalism, and like for example in Germany, or I think same in UK, we don't have there isn't laws about like advertising. But in Germany, we have like this self-regulating group basically for the print industry, and there's rules and stuff. And but the thing is, like that gets more and more eroded, and there's like more of like native advertising and shit like that. The problem in general is like that people are destroying this kind of like journalism for themselves. Like they find ads like really annoying. So they try to circumvent ads or whatever, and the next step is like native advertising and going becoming ads becoming more insidious and shit like that. So
yeah,
and also people don't want to pay for shit. So
yeah,
it's just I don't know. I don't think it's a streaming problem. I don't think it's
fucked.
It's
going downhill.
We're all fucked.
We're doomed.
We're fucked, and you can't fix it with regulation. So
I think the last thing on the agenda for this evening was related to #Fiber for Dave.
To our connection being shit currently.
Yeah, is that I put the order in today for fiber.
What?
Yeah, so
and I even haven't started.
It turns out my complaints about it being really expensive to like set it up for like not a year were listened to, and the connection fee got like reduced by like 75% or so.
Oh,
so it's like about 1 month worth of like bill for the connection fee. And then I rang them up and I got like the first 6 months for half price. So it works out at pretty much bang on what we're paying now for shitty internet.
So they were listening to the podcast, is what you're saying?
Clearly they're listening, and they're like, oh man, that Dave, he needs to get fiber because
that connection is shit.
So we got the installation booked like next Thursday. So by the time we have the next podcast, I should be on 100 meg up and down.
Well, we'll see if
Would be nice.
that fixes everything. I
Got
mean,
some routing of cables to do probably, because I think they'll probably drop it in a really awkward position, but we'll deal with that.
this is really cool because like I have like the good audio because I got more gear and now the connection shit.
Oh no, if that dropped out again.
I was just saying the connection.
Fucking hell.
I might just leave that in at this point because it's just so good. I think I'll just leave that in. Shall we try doing the feedback? Oh, he just said in the chat, shall we skip the feedback?
Just because this is kind of unbearable. I can't really like have a conversation because like.
Okay, shall we just do the feedback the next time?
Yeah, I think so. We can burn through that.
Okay,
So,
I'll leave all this in and people will know why.
all this joyous fucking clusterfuck in. Because this is it. This is exactly what you were talking about. This is the kind of like we're not producing the kind of super polished thing. It's just we're two guys fighting internet to have a
What do you
conversation.
think? I just fixed our audio setup. It's great now. It's just now the fucking internet.
Fuck you, Discord.
Something's always wrong. It's just fuck.
Damn it.
Anyway, we will just do the feedback the next show, I think.
Yeah, I'll copy that over. So fear not, loyal listeners. Your feedback will be aired.
I hear you well, so if you want to read out the contact details, if you want to send us more feedback, it's probably going to work. I say that, and then I can't hear him anymore.
What?
Read out the contact details.
I feel like it should be on the side that's actually recording, but I will do it, and hopefully it won't get
No,
mangled.
I can hear you. That's all good.
You can email us. We've actually had some emails at gnr@sixgun.org. Also, you can tweet us both at Geek News Radio, where we will probably respond, and I will inevitably reply from the wrong account. You'll probably notice 2 notifications, one from me and then one from the real account. And then you can tweet Fab at
Fabsh. FABSH.
Excellent. I can now hear you. This is great. I am at Megaslippers. We have a Facebook group where we post stuff occasionally. I share links to the Sabaton video. We've got a Steam group. No one has done a trolley notification this week. It's good. We also have a Discord, which is discord.sixgun.org, I think.
Yep, I think.
I think you set that up.
Yep.
And we've been having lots of chats about the ludicrous amount of coffee that Mike drinks. Stuff like that. Also, we're on YouTube where the episodes get posted. So you might be listening to this, me maybe terribly talking to myself because no one can hear me on there as well.
Yep, that was perfect. Like you're coming through loud and clear.
Fuck's sake.
Anyway, we'll see you next week with some feedback.
Excellent. Yeah.
What?
Damn it.
Perfect.
Oh man, that was hard.
Well, that just had to happen. It's just like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, okay, you just dropped out there as well.